Hey you guys, welcome into Steampunk Psyche. Before we get going to do this read, I just want to share with you some notes that I took down this morning during my meditation. Hopefully you'll follow along with me. If you don't, you can skip forward to the video. I always jot down notes, kind of journal when I wake up in the mornings, this routine I've got. I write down emotions or the state of mind, the energy that I'm feeling, what have you. And this morning, I was reminded about the word rigid, and also that feeling of being stuck and being in fright or flight mode. So I've got some notes here. I just want to kind of read some of them. In fright or flight mode, it's hard to navigate, especially slowly or securely, or even patiently. So it kind of forces us to rely on a pure fright instinct. And the question came to me, do you even know there is another way to respond to this? And I think a lot of us don't really think about this very much, but I want to give you some examples of something real quick, and then I'll get into the reading. But just as an example of growing up, you remember how many times your parents were like, hurry up, get out of the shower, or, get those dishes done, or we got to get that trash out, or whatever it was. And even though those are just minute, small little details, but then we move on and we get into school, and teachers are like, you got to have this homework done at this time. You've only got this much time to do this or that, or follow orders. You have to do this, get in line, stand up, sit down, and then we move on in our lives. We go into our jobs, and it's all about production. Deadlines. You got to have it at this time. It's got to be here or there, the hustle, the bustle. So I asked myself, what is the takeaway from this? And how can we maybe focus on that, just that question? So those were kind of the things that I had on my mind this morning, and it's hard to find patience when you're always in that state of mind. It's hard to find clarity. It's hard to, when you're wanting to wind down. So the challenge, I think, is really going to be, what can we do? It's kind of a teamwork place, So what can we do to maybe remind ourselves during the day, am I in fright or flight mode? And is this causing me to be impulsive? Is this, are my reactions to everything in an impulsive state of mind? Because we don't have to be that way, regardless of where we're at. I just believe that. So, anyway, with that being said, I appreciate you guys being here. I'm new, and I am going to challenge myself to put out some videos. I'm kind of interactive. I had to learn by seeing, touching, feeling. So I kind of created this tarot spread here with interaction in mind. So just bear with me. The shuffle's not as fast as a lot of other shuffles, but I do have kind of a reveal card scenario where sometimes it'll put out 1, 2, or 3 cards at a time to kind of reflect maybe the shuffle where a card flops out of the deck. So cool, right? So I think we'll just do kind of a general reading here, and I'll give you an idea about what it is that I'm doing. Excuse me, with the interactive side. As you know, there's 78 cards in the tarot deck, 22 of the major arcana, and the 56 of the minor arcana. And I'm saying that to tell you that within this, I have example cards that I'll reveal along the way here. And each one of them have a command, a hotkey that's been designated for me to show that card. So if you're hearing the computer typing and tapping, it's not me actually putting cards out there. This is all random. I have built-in random generators for all the cards, so it is random. But the tapping and typing is all going to be the cards that I'm trying to, will go along in the deck. That way you can see them too. So we're kind of learning as we go. And, hopefully we can come out of this with some kind of good message. So I'll start with the Knight of Pentacles. And And there's your example. So see, we can kind of go along together. I know the cards, but I thought maybe if you could see the cards too, and as we go along and tell a story about the revealed cards, you might be able to see something on there that I'm not picking up on. And if you'd like to leave that in a comment, that's cool. I mean, that would be great. Any negative comments, I'm going to alchemize it into something great. So that's good too. Positive comments, anything. So anyway, I hope you like the way this is. I like to do the 4-card spread. I kind of done a little bit of study, not a lot of study. I'm kind of like versed in all kinds of different techniques. There are so many ways to read the cards. So, excuse me, I've had coffee, so if I'm burping everywhere, forgive me. So anyway, we're revealing the cards, and actually, if you're looking at them and you're already going, oh man, what the heck? You probably watch tarot a lot. But for those who don't, I will start with the very first card, the Knight of Pentacles. And as you can see, the explanation card, hard work, reliability, and practicality. It is an earth sign. So it could be a Taurus, could be Virgo, could be Capricorn. Usually the Knight indicates material wealth. The Knight of Pentacles is very logical minded and very planning and organized. You know, so anytime you see that, that's kind of what he represents. So dedication, persistence, and the willingness to put in the effort for lasting success. Sticking to routines, maintaining the discipline, and embracing steady progress. While the Knight of Pentacles is not impulsive or adventurous, his determination ensures results, hard work, responsibility, and steady progress. He sits firmly on his horse, holding a golden pentacle, surveying the land with careful determination. He symbolizes patience, reliability, and a methodical approach, and focus on material success. So what I'm kind of picking up on is a masculine energy, and the reason I say that is because it sits in the first position. This first position represents the masculine energy. I'm not saying male, because we all have a balance of both, masculine and feminine energies in us. So, but this is more of a stable masculine type energy. And then in the second position, we've got the Wheel of Fortune. So let me find that card for you here. Actually, it's the Wheel Fortune, not the Wheel of, I believe, but Wheel of Fortune is just straight up W command. How about that? Turning points, destiny cycles, and luck. And I like to see the hierarchy type cards to fall in the first positions, because a lot of times this will help kind of just set the basis for what. Let me give you an example. It looks like whoever this is, or who I'm talking about, or whoever's in this energy right now is looking forward to opportunities, the cycles of life that are taking place, but opportunities, and perhaps something's about to change in their life, or they're moving into that state of change. The Wheel of Fortune, let me see here. I can give you a little bit more here. The Wheel of Fortune symbolizes destiny and unexpected changes, and also cycles, like I said. So while we cannot control fate, we can learn to navigate through its shifts with wisdom and adaptability. The central wheel, a large wheel, dominates the card, representing the ever-turning cycles of fate. And the 4 winged creatures in the corners, the angel, the eagle, the lion, and the bull, represent the 4 fixed zodiac signs: Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo, and Taurus, and they symbolize stability amidst change. So, like I said, I believe that right now there's this Knight of Pentacles is either seeing some change happening, or coming out of a cycle, or into a cycle. So, and then the next card, we have another major arcana card that's here. So let's look at that. The Death card in the reversed position talks about resistance and, maybe clinging to the past, blocked transformation, as part of that cycle. Looking forward into this, making a plan and a cycle either coming to an end or kind of putting it off, maybe a little afraid, a little fearful of moving forward in something. So let's see. The Death in the upright position talks about a renewal, putting an ending to something, but making way for renewal. So it is a wonderful card, actually. And I can tell you more about it if you want. But let's see here. We got the King of Pentacles in the reversed position. So, materialism, greed, control, stubbornness. Well, you can see power struggles, superficiality, and rigidity. It's in the fourth position, which means that's what's stabilizing, or, if something in this cycle doesn't change, this is where you'll end up again. Perhaps that cycle of materialistic views, maybe overspending, greed, maybe hoarding, a lot. Stubborn, not wanting to change. If you are watching this and this is resonating with you, don't leave the channel. Stay and burn with me. Okay, that's why I'm here. We can do this together. So, well, yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going. The Ace of Pentacles in the reverse position. Yeah. Financial loss, instability, delays, scarcity, blockages. I feel like maybe that's still part of that same cycle. I had the same kind of read yesterday. I feel that same kind of energy taking place. So let's look at the Queen of Swords in the reverse position. Coldness, bitterness, manipulation, overcritical, harshness, cynicism, misjudgment. I'm getting the same thing. I'm surprised. Let me see, look at those other cards. Yeah, I just feel this very anxious energy, and it's still with me. That's, like I said before I started this fight or flight mode. It causes this kind of situation. Bitterness, resentment. So, with the Nine of Wands also in the reverse position, impulsiveness, recklessness, haste, overconfidence, disruption. Yeah. Somebody's cynical right now. Nah, that ain't me. This ain't me. But it is you. It is you. And the cards are not lying. But with the Queen of Cups sitting in the end, the Queen represents, if you pull off the lid of that cup, by the way, the Queen is the only one in the deck that has the actual lid on the cup, and it's revealing the mysteries. Looking within, she sits on a throne, so she is the epitome of the hidden truths, the hidden wisdom, the spiritual side of things. Let's see here. Compassion, intuition, emotional depth. Yeah. Also a water sign, but you're moving into that, or at least that could be what is that could be like what you would like to ground yourself in that. But this other disruption that's taking place around you or within your intuition in your head and your mind is keeping you from doing this. I hate seeing that. Let's see here. Yeah. Then we have justice. the Sun, Four of Cups, and the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, let's look at justice. Fairness, truth, accountability, and balance. It's not really telling me a whole story yet. You know, there is this Knight of Pentacles who's looking forward, but there is this recklessness and chaos taking place. This Knight of Pentacles wants to ground themselves, and perhaps looking, since this is in the third turn, the dominating thought or the active thought is justice. So they're seeking some justice about something that's taken place. Could be about money. We are seeing the Pentacles here, but it could be about maybe some ideas or the idea of something. Ace of Pentacles is talking about new beginnings, new starts, but since it's in the reverse position, it's hard to get started. You're lagging behind something, or you feel like you're lagging behind because of this chaotic state, or something's causing the stubbornness. I'm not sure. The Justice Major Arcana card here is the 11th card in the deck, and it represents logic, clarity, and decisive action. And the scales in her left hand symbolize balance, fairness, and weighing all perspectives. So, and the gray pillars, they represent the constraints of the material world and the need for order. And the white shoe that's peeking out underneath there is a subtle reminder of spiritual consequences and a higher truth. But the passive energy that's in it, right next to it, is the Sun in the reversed position. And the Sun is what it is. It's happiness. It's, you know, laughter and joy and peace, harmony. However, we are seeing possibly disillusionment, some setbacks, hidden truths, loss of vitality. You know, it reads like this that just zap my energy because I'm such an empath. I feel for people and like going, what is going on in this person's life? And so I want to remain hopeful and say, okay, here's the kicker. This Four of Cups says that you've got all three of these cups sitting down here. Let's consider that this is one of your cups, putting off this death, this chaotic state, this energy that's surrounding of stubbornness, this ego clash, this tyrannous act, and also the need to want to change something about this, and maybe the lack of focus on yourself, the internal self, not receiving any justice, being in a situation, say a relationship wise, but I'm not really getting relationship yet. I feel like more this might be a financial just situation somebody's in. You know, their car broke down, they're broke, they got no money, but it's causing some issues or something. And that was kind of a terrible example, but you get what I'm saying, because it's limitless on what kind of example that could be. But the constant reminder of being in this chaotic state, whatever it is not bringing any kind of a justice to you, and you want to seek justice. But justice is here. It's dominating, and it's saying that in the third position, it talks about what you're going to transition or what you're manifesting into. And what if this routine continues, because we saw the Wheel of Fortune, the cycle is going to continue. So you're still going to remain pessimistic. You're still going to see temporary setbacks. And I'm talking about these hidden truths here. These hidden truths, they are within the Queen of Cups, which is what you want to be. So which tells me that you're not wanting to see the truth. about something, maybe pushing it down, and maybe because you're in fight or flight, and you're avoiding that scenario. So the Four of Cups represents that focused on things that are happening in the moment, the past. They're so big and bold that you're not even seeing this blessing, which is the blessing of the Wheel of Fortune. The ending of cycles. A cycle is going to begin, and this is a cycle you're in, just a state that you're in, and it's temporary. Because everything changes constantly. You're not the same person you were yesterday, and you're not the same person after you sit with me and watch this. You just can't unsee what we see. And that's a good thing, and you got to realize that. There's only one way to eat an elephant. It's just one little bite at a time. So small little changes, small little wins are going to help you do this. So the Two of Pentacles is the next card, and it's in the reverse position. So what this symbolizes is an imbalance. Which really, we know this. There's an imbalance taking place. But being overwhelmed, and this causes an overwhelmment. And we know what happens after that. Chaos, stress, inflexibility. And it keeps you in fight or flight. This is so in line with what I was saying. And I did not make this up. I mean, I literally had this written down this morning. I felt that energy, so I'm glad this is kind of showing up here. The Two of Pentacles is just representative, whether it's in the upright or whether it is in the reverse position. It is representative of you got too much on your plate. You're taking on too much. I'm surprised the wands didn't show up, but let's second guess this one. All right, let's keep rocking here. So next in line in the fourth turn, and now in the fourth turn, it's talking about what limitations, how you're structuring things, what you are grounding yourself into. A lot of these things could be in the past too. So this is what you faced, and maybe you're coming out of that and moving into this is where I'm grounding now. And what it's looking like is somebody's moving away. The Six of Swords represents, if you notice on the right side of the boat, the choppy water. The left side of the boat's calm water. So it's moving away from this situation and into a calmer place. And that could just be a day's rest. It could be, I'm just getting away from everybody, and I'm going to get some sleep. But let's look at the Six of Swords here. So transition, moving forward, healing. Let me give you a little bit better. Let's get back up here. Necessary. A necessary transition, moving away from difficulties, embracing the change. It encourages letting go of past struggles and trusting your journey and seeking a more peaceful state of mind. While the transition may feel uncertain, it ultimately leads to the growth and renewal. Transition, moving forward and leaving behind difficulties. It depicts a boat carrying a cloaked figure and a child guided by a ferryman, symbolizing a journey toward calmer waters and a new beginning. The water behind them is rough, while the water ahead is calm, signifying moving away from turmoil and toward peace. It could also talk about mental burdens and lessons that you're carrying forward. So the past is not entirely left behind. And it's very suggestive of seeking refuge in emotional healing and some guidance. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe you're still just carrying on to this and you're juggling all that, but trying to slowly move away from it. Which is what we saw in the second turn with the Queen of Cups. This emotional, trying to gain this emotional stability, and the mystery of the intuition kind of just starting to touch the base of it. The Page of Cups, it's pretty neat that it shows up, because we saw this in the third turn. This is what you are manifesting is you're focused on all of this, but there is an offering that you're not really looking at. So here in the offering is here, this Page of Cups. Now, the Page of Cups talks about relationships, love, and that type of stuff, but it is a youthful spirit. The Page of Cups. Um, Let me give you an example here. Creativity, imagination, and sensitivity. But emotions, intuition, relationships, and love. And we saw, like I said, the Queen of Cups is about that intuition side. So maybe you're following your intuition and moving away from this situation. Next in line is the, Nine of Pentacles. So maybe you're moving away towards. She is definitely grounded. She has gained herself some pentacles, and let me show you here. Nine of Pentacles. Yeah. Abundance, luxury, and self-sufficiency. And the Knight of Pentacles, from the very beginning, I think is your dominant energy that, okay, how do I become this Nine of Pentacles? The Knight of Pentacles is set in stone. He says, I've got a plan. I'm going to move this. And I think that you've got all these obstacles in your way, stresses, chaos, and everything else. And you're trying to balance. This could be balancing your job, your relationships, because you saw the cups. Now the Page of Cups is definitely involved in this. So there's a relationship part involved as well. And how do you balance this in order to get yourself into this financial means? Everyone I think I've ever known in my adult life was that way, and even in my young life, that balance between, I'm tired of being poor, I want some money. How do I get more money? How do I get more money? And I'm trying to tell you that Queen of Cups and Justice don't care about money. They're not the financial gurus. What they are is intuitive and justice. They want you to understand that in order to be balanced in all of this, if your main focus is completely on financial means, then you're letting your spiritual side go. You're only focused just on your money, and that's going to reverberate down through every bit and cause chaos and turmoil. If you're in a relationship, you notice they're facing away from each other, Knight and Queen. So it could cause that type of separation in relationships. We all know that. We've seen it before. You're fighting over money, but those are just examples of it. This is not a terrible read. It's just, I think it's kind of a common theme that takes place, and you're just kind of like in this questioning state. I need to move away from this, and maybe you're just kind of uncertain, a little unsure on how to do that. So it's not terrible. I'm going to keep going though. The Three of Cups in the reverse position. Let's see. Yep. So, this makes sense. Overindulgence. Maybe somebody could be, drinking too much, or, doing illicit whatevers, and taking too much of this or that, to try to escapism, that type of thing. And I'm not judging. I don't care. Whatever people got to do, the path of least resistance, but after a while, it's going to cloud your judgment, and you know it, and I know it, and those are hard pills to swallow. Yeah, but that's the truth, so... and the truth is why we're here. The truth is why you've stayed. If you've stayed, I hope you've stayed. I know some of you probably are like, dude, you're too much. I can't handle it. Maybe you're out. I hope not. I hope you stayed. But anyway, that's just an example of, what happens in life, right? We're not oblivious to this thing. So maybe... strained relationships, everything I just talked about, it's all in the Three of Cups in the reverse position. So what I want to know is, this is a cycle. Is this a cycle that was in the past? Is this a cycle you're kind of in right now? And so I'm going to keep on going. Let's keep going and see what's up. I'd like to see some kind of change, some kind of good news for whoever this energy is. Okay. Seven of Cups in the reversed position. The Nine of Swords in the reverse position. Seven of Cups talks about choices. All about choices. The King of Wands in the reverse position, I don't like to see. But he's there, and it's our job to deal with it. It's our job to look at it. I like the King of Wands. I just like him in the upright position. And the Hierophant. Okay, cool. So let's talk about the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups in the normal upright position. Well, yeah, this is a good one. Let me show you this, and and then you'll understand why here. Let me go to the Seven of Cups in the upright position. And because it's important that you understand what those cups actually are. The seven cups in a cloud, they symbolize fantasy, imagination, and possibilities, but they also talk about uncertainty and illusion. And that's just a representation of the cups. But within each cup, there is a human head that talks about potential, companionship, or wisdom. There is a shrouded figure. It talks about a mystery, hidden knowledge, or a spiritual awakening. There is a snake that talks about wisdom, transformation, or temptation. There's a castle and a tower. Talks about security, ambition, or power. There is a treasure hoard in there. Talks about wealth and abundance. And there's a laurel wreath that talks about victory, honor, but also pride and vanity. And then there's a dragon, a supernatural forces of danger or fantasy. Okay, so the card is talking about the allure of all these different possibilities, but it warns against wishful thinking and unrealistic dreams. Now, I hate that term, unrealistic dreams, because I don't think there's anything that's unrealistic. If you can think it, it can happen. But I think it may be talking like, okay, can I grow some wings and jump off this building, or if I jump off this building, can I really fly? I mean, I don't think I would suggest that. But, you do enough of them pills we talked about, you might jump off that building. I'm not suggesting that. That's not what I'm trying to say. Ooh, I shouldn't even, nix that. Okay. So anyway, we're talking about the Seven of Cups now that is in the reverse position. So now it's kind of a better scenario. It talks about clarity, realism, focus, decision, grounding, prioritization, discernment, awareness, elimination, and commitment. Which is all of those possibilities that were before that kind of seemed a little negative, and these are turned around into positive, okay? Now, I say that to say that sitting right next to you, or right next to this, I'm saying you because this is based on you, this Knight of Pentacles and these Seven of Cups are in the dominant part of your thoughts or your thinking or what's taking place. And so sitting right next to it in a passive position is really about the subconscious influence that's taking place over all of this stuff that we're seeing over here. So the Nine of Swords in the reverse talks about relief, recovery, perceptive, overcoming fear, healing, or perception, So yeah, these are two great cards sitting next together. The reason I said earlier about this King of Wands is because it makes sense why you would want to be moving away. Yeah. Tyranny, domineering, impulsiveness, arrogance, recklessness, control, manipulation, intolerance, ego, and aggression. Excuse me. Like I said before, I'm not seeing relationship wise right now. But this could be because you're in this financial place, this rigidity, this domineering aspect. Maybe And with the Hierophant sitting in the next position, yeah, I got to look at this. Hang on. Tradition, spirituality, guidance, and conformity. And there's more to the Hierophant, and I think it's important that you see the Hierophant here. I'm trying to see why that would be like that. Yeah. The Hierophant talks about exploring established wisdom or shared belief systems. Dominion over the physical, mental and the spiritual realm. Divine knowledge. Duality and balance. Mainly duality balance, because this, this Hierophant sits between the two pillars signifying duality and balance. So, yeah. Structured learning, spiritual guidance, urging seekers to explore this established wisdom. Yeah. Maybe somebody is being forced into maybe there's an addiction taking place. And this person's doing the rest recovery, but they're feeling like they're being forced to do, say, detox, for instance. I know it's kind of a strange part, but I just got that. I just kind of got that feeling like, but they bring in religious aspects sometimes when you're doing detox, and a lot of people are not very acceptant to that, especially if they didn't grow up around traditional, because Hierophant is talking about traditional, the traditional type of spirituality, maybe being in your position, but also being able to explore, other types of traditions. Now, the Hierophant in reverse would be completely reverse of that, untraditional. I'm breaking the chains around me type scenario, but yeah. So I'm seeing this tyrannous aspect taking place. Earlier, we saw the overindulgence that may be part of that scenario. Moving away from it, accepting an offering, trying to get this firm foundation started, the lack of reciprocity. So I don't know. That's kind of that's an odd lay right there for this. So, but I kind of got that feeling like maybe somebody's, and kudos to you if you're seeking help. Now, the Tower card looks scary, but it is the Tower of Power, so I've heard. But when you're in it, boy, it sure feels like a mess. But it's necessary. So, yeah, and it makes sense. If you're going through this, you've had a Tower moment. But the difference is this Tower is in the, reverse position, meaning that you've put off the Tower, or you're putting off a Tower moment. You're trying to save yourself a little bit of, something's about to go down, it's going to happen, and so you've kind of put it off. And really, that's part of that fight or flight too. Fear will make you do that. But let's look at the Tower in the reverse position real quick, and I'll show you. So, if I can find it here. Yep, I think that's it. Avoidance, fear of change, repressed transformation. So if this is somebody who is going through this detoxive type scenario, whether this be detoxing yourself from a relationship or indulgence in whatever, you could be holding back, repressing it, and not fully. You could be doing it to save face. You could be doing it so that you could gain financial means. If somebody said, "Hey, if you go get help, I'll help you out." I don't know. It could be one of those things. And I get it. I understand. But really, if you're going to sit in the fire, why don't you just go ahead and... you're already burned, right? You're burning. Why don't you just go ahead and go all in, with the Queen of Cups. Go into the mystery and go ahead and pull off the cap and look into the shadow work, It's not hard to do. It's just hard to sit in it because nobody wants to smell their own, Nobody wants to sit in it, and a lot of people don't want to admit that they're wrong. So, Well, this avoidance that's taking place is unveiling some of the ugly sides of us. And but you know what? Here's the truth. It's who you are. So what? You're not alone. You're not by yourself. We all have some ugly sides, but they are who we are. It's part of us, and accepting that is okay to do. Whoever told us it was not okay, can, yeah, I don't want to say any other negative stuff. But it looks like you've got the Ten of Pentacles here. So possibly you've got a support, group here. Because the Ten of Pentacles talks about family, legacy, stability. Yeah, if you had a big family or something, or some kind of a support system that would support you. And that sits in the subconscious influence, receptivity, intuition, and reflecting, maybe reflecting upon that situation. Let me see. We got. Is that it? Yep. Harmony, fulfillment, happiness, emotion, intuition, relationships, love. Still part of that emotional side as well. No, that's Ten of Cups. I wish y'all could have shouted at me. Hey, dummy, that was on the cups. Let's go. How about this? I'm still trying to learn all these controls, so forgive me. Look at that. It's just not going to show up for me, is it? The 10. Hey, look at there. Ten of Pentacles, legacy, wealth, family, material wealth, work, health, stability. Yeah. You're putting off this tower because of financial means, maybe a codependency situation. And then we see right next to that, yeah, the Five of Pentacles, not wanting to seek help. Kind of in that begging scenario, though. Yeah, this definitely reminds me of codependency here. So let's look at that. The Five of Pentacles. Hardship, insecurity, and loss. And there's more to it. Let's look at that. Five of Pentacles, because I hate this position. This is like hitting rock bottom scenario. Emotional isolation, a sense of rejection. It encourages seeking support, recognizing available resources, and understanding that hardship is temporary. While the imagery is bleak, it reminds us that help exists and resilience leads to recovery. Yeah, this kind of goes along with what I was saying. Maybe somebody is like, yeah, there's a little bit of the manipulation going on, and maybe that was part of the early tyranny manipulation cards that we saw with the wands and the swords reversed scenario. So it represents poverty, rejection, or difficult times. The stained glass window, though, suggests help is available, but they may not see it or feel worthy of seeking it. And so it's indicative of this putting off this major tower because of this support system maybe seeing you. Maybe if they seen you trying to get help. I don't know. This is kind of I've never had a read like this, so this is new to me too. So let's look at the Three of Wands. Three of Wands talks about, he's got his hands placed on the budding staffs right here. I've already accomplished these. You see them sticking in the ground. I've accomplished them, but I'm looking out, and I'm setting my sights to something else. The thought of walking away, the thought of moving on, the thought of doing it, maybe perhaps the whole point was, what happens if I go get help? Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to lose my money, my means of support? You know what? That might be where we're at. That might be part of it. I just had an aha. That's probably it. That would be a tough one, wouldn't it? I've got this addiction taking place. I'm going to lose my job. I may lose support from my family. They're going to may look at me different. That's a hard place to be. My heart just leapt. Mm-mm-mm. You're so brave because where you're sitting at is a tough one, you know. But I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you right now, don't be a coward. Do it. Go get the help. Who gives a damn about materialistic stuff? I think that's part of, yeah, let your guard down. That's what that Nine of Wands is talking about. Let your guard down. Wow. What a position. My heart just leapt. I felt that. That's a tough spot to be in, but I don't care. Go get help. Let everything go. Let it all fall. Let it all burn. Let it all crumble. It's the most important thing. You can't help anybody if you can't help yourself, you know? Um, yeah. Still seeing it. I'm going to let these reveal just a little bit more here. I could have stopped it there because I feel like that's an important message. But I feel like this is too. It's about to repeat this same scenario. You're stuck. The arguing, the fighting, the whatever. I've seen this a lot lately. Maybe it's just the time of the season. You know, we're coming out of Virgo. And no, this is not, any negativity towards signs of Virgo or anything. But, yeah. And then here's the Chariot. Give me one more. And High Priestess card is in the end. Wow. Yep. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. You know, there's this loss of relationship. Um, wow. For whoever this is for, if you've been brave enough to sit here with me at this moment, your very last card was the High Priestess, and that is the position. That is where you want to be. That is where you want to be. The unveiling of all of this. If you have the power to sit and have a thought that, hey, I think I may need to go get some help, right? If that was it, I don't know that that's it, but boy, it's sure speaking to my heart about that. And maybe you're just having an assumption about, if I go, am I going to be, if they're going to thump me with the Bible, or, and I don't mean any disrespect towards any kind of religion. That's not what I mean, but I kind of know what it's mean, being forced, which kind of goes along with what I talked about this, in my morning meditation, which is this being forced to be in fight or flight, and then possibly having an addiction that also, and you're in this, it can really just like detour what you know is a priority. Look, your very first card was the Knight of Pentacles. This logical, I'm making a plan, and I'm when the Knight of Pentacles makes a plan, it's going to follow through. It happens. But you're upside down in your finances with already. There's thoughts of things that you could lose. There's chaos taking place. Possibly there's more than one in this scenario. We saw the Three of Cups down here. You have a community, a support system, but you're not sure if you do this, or if they find out, whatever, that they may not help you, or perhaps you're too scared to ask for help. You feel alone. You need to do it because it's followed up by this Three of Wands looking out. You got the Two of Wands. Let's see, Control Pad 2. Yeah. You got the Two of Wands talking about an indecision or hesitation and your fear of the unknown. I think you're overthinking it. There could be even fights taking place about this. If you do this, maybe another partner is maybe trying to talk you out of it, or is one that's giving you these ideas that we could lose everything type scenario. But you've got the Chariot sitting there, who is the ultimate willpower. So somebody's got some willpower. This is what you are manifesting, and moving away, keeping your nose down, and continuing your work, and using your intuition along the way. Do the work. Do the work. This is a good read. It's, to some it may seem really sad, and I know there are lots of different views on this read. I hope you express what you feel like these cards mean on here, on this video. Do it, because I would be curious to know. But my intuition was telling me something, and I feel like this is an important message. If you set this long, you are loved. I love you. I appreciate you. That's a hard place to be. And, look, we've all had addictions of one thing or another, and it's okay. It's okay. Sometimes we just don't know how to deal with our pain. We don't. And, but I'm telling you, I think it's just a lot of repetitive belief. What I talked about before. We do this to ourselves. We don't know how to find relief, and sometimes we're afraid. How do you find relief? How do you get to that happy place? You get cynical. I'm tired of seeing all these happy people whenever I feel like, So, man, good read. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's long. I hope this finds somebody, maybe helps somebody. I hope you leave some comments. Thumb it up if you liked it. Thumb it down if you didn't like it. Comment, anything. So, anyway, I'm looking forward to the next one. Hope to see you guys.